In the 1950s, Montgomery, Alabama was a bustling town. People everywhere were hard at work cooking, cleaning, running stores, cutting hair, and sewing clothes. Other people, however, were working towards equality. Rosa Parks was one of those people. She had been working for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP, for 12 years, serving as secretary to the group. She also worked as a seamstress and was very good at her job. She was busy at home too, taking care of her mother and working with her husband Raymond to keep the household running. Rosa was a very hard-working woman. Of all of the work that Rosa did, she was very devoted to the movement for change and equality for African Americans. She worked to desegregate schools in the Montgomery area and worked with the youth division of the NAACP. She attended training sessions for labor and civil rights organizations and discussed previous challenges to segregation with her fellow NAACP workers such as E.D. Nixon, who was the head of the group and a mentor to Rosa. December 1, 1995 started out as an ordinary day for Rosa. She had been working at the NAACP office till late the night before and had worked at the department store sewing all morning. She followed the established procedure for African Americans when she got on the bus that would take her home that day. She paid her money at the front and then got off to enter through the back doors. At that time in Montgomery, as well as nearly all other places in the South, buses were segregated, as most other aspects of life were. This meant that the front of the bus was the white section and the back was the black section. Rosa boarded the back of the bus and sat in the first row of the colored section. Rosa had been defiant before about the inequality of buses. She didn't like that she had to pay, then board the back of the bus, and had been evicted from buses before for defying this rule. Today, however, the bus moved on to the next stop with no problems. A few stops later, however, the white section had filled up, and one white man was standing. The bus driver asked Rosa and 3 other African Americans to stand so that the white man could have the seats. None of them moved at first after he asked them. After a second time, though, the 3 other African American riders moved to stand further back on the bus, but Rosa silently refused to move. The driver saw that Rosa was still sitting. He asked again if she was going to get up and move. "No, I'm not," was her response. "Well, if you don't stand up, I'm going to call the police and have you arrested," he threatened. Rosa replied calmly once again, "You may do that." She understood the consequences of her actions and was ready to fight segregation head-on. She was prepared to make a sacrifice. 2 policemen came on the bus. They asked if the driver had asked her to move, and when she said yes, they wanted to know why she didn't stand up. Rosa answered with her own question, "Why do you push us around?" One of the policemen said, "I don't know, but the law is the law and you're under arrest." And so Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her rightful seat, even under segregation laws, to a white man. She was charged with disorderly conduct. Before Rosa's arrest, the NAACP, as well as other African American organizations, had been planning a bus boycott as a means to end segregation on buses. When leaders of the organizations heard about the arrest, they decided it was time to put their plans into action. Joanne Gibson, a friend of Rosa's and head of the Women's Political Council, and E.D. Nixon, along with others in Montgomery, started planning the boycott the very next day after Rosa's arrest. On December 5th, Rosa was convicted and fined in the city court. The planners of the boycott made pamphlets and spread the word that the next day would be a one-day boycott of city buses. During that one day, 90% of black bus riders boycotted segregation. Black leaders formed the Montgomery Improvement Association and elected Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. as president. At a meeting held by the new group, everyone agreed that the bus boycott should continue for more than just one day. The boycott would last 13 months. It ended when the Supreme Court ended Alabama bus segregation laws. After her arrest and trial, Rosa became a spokesperson for the civil rights movement. She spoke at meetings of organizations like the NAACP and Women's Political Council and continued to work towards equality for African Americans. Rosa Parks is considered to this day to be one of the key leaders in the civil rights movement of the 1950s.